You go into major hospitals sometimes, they'll have 2 ventilators, and now all of a sudden they're saying, can we order 30,000 ventilators?
So President Donald Trump appears to think this is just about over. This pandemic, who cares? You got to get back to work. Ventilators, who cares? You don't need them. This interview on Sean Hannity's show on Fox News, I mean, it really shows you the one person you do not want to be in control right now during a pandemic is in control right now during a pandemic. So let me play this clip for you. Emma Vigeland's response here is spot on. Oh my God is correct. Listen to this.
I don't believe you need 40,000 or 30,000 ventilators. You go into major hospitals sometimes, they'll have 2 ventilators, and now all of a sudden they're saying, can we order 30,000 ventilators? So, look, it's a very bad situation. We haven't seen anything like it. But the end result is we got to get back to work, and I think we can start by opening up certain parts of the country, Farm Belt, certain parts of the Midwest, other places, but I think that, as an example, you go to Texas. There are places in Texas, great governor, Greg Abbott. There are places in Texas where, it's a tremendously big state that aren't impacted by this. So I think we can open up sections, quadrants, and then just keep them going until the whole country is opened up. But we have to open up. The people want to get back to work. They want to get back. That's the way we're engineered.
All right. I mean, what do you say? This is Donald Trump. He's completely insane. Let me show you, just give you context here to some of the stuff he was talking about. So when it comes to ventilators, yeah, you need more ventilators now because more people need them. It's a fucking pandemic. Do you understand? So this isn't just words. Like, this is real world actions he's taking. Look at this. White House cancels GM joint venture to mass produce ventilators over fears its price tag could exceed $1 billion, or 0.05% of latest stimulus bill. So when it comes to handing massive corporations a ton of cash, perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine to bail out, Carnival Cruises. But when it comes to actually producing ventilators that people need to live, oh no, $1 billion or 0.05% of the stimulus bill. Too much money. How completely insane is this? And he's telling people to get back to work during this. So watch this. This is actually a fantastic timeline here. And also, day by day, it evolves. They add to it every day. So if you go back to this link, it's a BBC News link. You can see the U.S. slowly, see they're down here right now, slowly make their way up, and then it's going to explode near the end of the month here. So we're getting to it now. Look at that. It's going up. And guess where the U.S. ends up? On top at the very end. And Trump wants people to go back to work. Does he understand how this spreads? You can't just return to normal. If people go back to work, all you're doing is reigniting it. You're making more people get it. You're continuing the process of this virus spreading. The way to end it is to keep people home now, and the people that already have it, hopefully get over it, and don't infect more people. And then you stomp it out that way. You don't stomp it out by exposing more people to the virus. Let me show you an actual leader. Here is Bernie Sanders responding to Trump's idea that people should get back to work, go to church, all that crap. Watch this.
The president yesterday talked about seeing light at the end of the tunnel. wanted packed churches for Easter. Do you see a light at the end of the tunnel? I mean, I think back to, I think it was November of 1967, General Westmoreland talking about, light at the ends of tunnels and the war dragged on for many years after that.
Anderson, this is even worse than that. You have all over the world countries, obviously including our own, New York, Washington State, the whole country, dealing with a pandemic, with a huge increase in the number of people who are infected, people who are dying. And what all of the experts tell us is that we need to distance ourselves from each other. In many states now, people are being asked to stay home. Congregations should not be any larger than 2 or maybe 10 people, and keep your distance. And you are talking about a president who is speaking in opposition to all of the major medical advisors in our own government and in this country. Say, oh yeah, come to church on Easter, sit next to somebody else. Why don't you spread the virus so that we'll never get rid of this pandemic? You got a president who is arrogant, who is ignorant, who is self-centered. And to me, I mean, this is as dangerous as he gets in suggesting people to defy what the healthcare experts are telling us. So this is a dangerous moment for him.
Yeah. You have a president that isn't listening to science, even though Trump has all the resources at his disposal to listen to the experts in every field. And what does he do? Thinks for himself, which is never a good thing. Thinks for himself and just thinks people got to get back to work. And the reality is he's not just thinking for himself. He's listening to the business people that are in his ears as well, that also think, you know what, potential short-term gains in the stock market, that's better than long-term benefit for the American people not dying. Like, are you crazy? And this is in addition to, like, it isn't just Trump. This is Republican lawmakers in general. You had the lieutenant governor in Texas, Dan Patrick, say that, well, if we got to sacrifice the old people, then we got to sacrifice the old people, and we should all get back to work. Even if you wanted to believe that crazy idea that we should sacrifice the old people and get back to work, this virus isn't just affecting the elderly. It's affecting everybody. It kills everybody. I have a story coming up of a teen that died. This affects everybody, which is why it is so scary. Anybody can be infected, and if you're infected, you can die even if you're incredibly healthy. You have to stay home as much as possible. The only time I'm ever going out now, for the past 2 weeks, the only time I've ever gone out is to get groceries. Otherwise, I've stayed in my apartment. That is what everybody should be doing. Unless you work at a grocery store, which, by the way, if you're in an essential service like grocery stores or a doctor, you should be compensated more than what you're currently being compensated for in your job, because you are putting yourself at risk out there working during this. But that aside, unless you work in an essential service, there is no reason for you to be outside every day working or doing anything. You should be at home, and the only time you should be going out is to get groceries. That's it. This is a serious thing, and we're not going to get through it as a world until we all take it seriously. Until every single country takes this seriously and people stay home, this is not going away. By the way, I saw someone just say in the chat, I have to work. Your employer is putting you at risk. If you can't work from home, your government should be taking care of you. That's the reality. In Canada, I had a story on this. You will get $2,000 a month for the next 4 months if you lose your job or have to stay home because of this crisis. In addition to that, now they have Canada has introduced a 75% wage subsidy, so employers can still pay their employees at least partially. But yeah, if your job is still trying to get you to work, I don't know what to say, but you're putting yourself at risk. And you're not even just yourself, you're putting yourself and everybody else at risk.